Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yam Gopi Jana Vallabha Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shriman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hariba, Slava Zarani Bhakta, Slava Shri Guru Ishi Gaur Rangi. Oma Gana Tamirandasya Gananjana Salakaya, Chaksur Militam Yena, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam, Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakans Vitams Cha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Nihari Priye Panchakapa Dhruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3. Krishna is the source of incarnation of all incarnations. Text 26. Avatara yasankyeya Hare sattva nidira dvija Yata vidya shina kulya Sarasa su sahasrashaha Avatara ya sankhya Hare sattva nidira dvija Yata vidya shina kulya Sahasra su sahasrashaha Yata vidvasina kulya Sahasra su sahasrashaha Tara yasankyeya Hare sattva nidira dvija Yata vidvasina kulya Sahasa su sahasrashaha. Ladies, Avatara yasankyeya Hare sattva nidira dvija Yatad vidasina kulya Sahasra su sahasrashaha. Avatara, incarnations. He certainly, asankhyeya, innumerable, Hare, of Hari, the Lord, Sattvanide, of the ocean of goodness, Dvija, the Brahmanas, Yata, as it is, Avidasina, inexhaustible, Kolya, rivulets, Sarasa, of vast lakes, Syu are Sahasrashaha, thousands of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. Please repeat. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. Purport. The list of incarnations of the personality of Godhead given herein is not complete. It is only a partial view of all the incarnations. There are many others such as Sri Harigriva, Hari, Hangsa, Prishnigarbha, Vibhu, Satyasena, Vaikuntha, Sarvabhauma, Vishvaksena, Dharmaksetu, Sudama, Yogeshwara, Brihadbhanu, and others of the bygone ages. Shri Prahlad Maharaj said in his prayer, O Lord, you manifest as many incarnations as there are species of life, namely the aquatics, the vegetables, the reptiles, the bird, the beast, the men, the demigods, etc., just for the maintenance of the faithful and the annihilation of the unfaithful. You advent yourself in this way in accordance with the necessity of the different yugas. In the Kali Yuga, you have incarnated garbed as a devotee. This incarnation of the Lord in the Kali Yuga is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many other places, both in the Bhagavatam and in other scriptures, in which the incarnation of the Lord as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explicitly mentioned. In the Brahma Samhita also, it is said indirectly that although there are many incarnations of the Lord, such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Matsya, Kurma, and many others, the Lord himself sometimes incarnates in person. Lord Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not therefore incarnations, but the original source of all other incarnations. This will be clearly explained in the next sloka. So the Lord is the inexhaustible source for innumerable incarnations, which are not always mentioned. But such incarnations are distinguished by specific extraordinary feats which are impossible to be performed by any living being. That is the general test to identify an incarnation of the Lord, directly and indirectly empowered. Some incarnations mentioned above are almost plenary portions. For instance, the Kumaras are empowered with transcendental knowledge. Sri Narada is empowered with devotional service. Maharaj Prithu is an empowered incarnation with executive function. The Matsya incarnation is directly a plenary portion. So the innumerable incarnations of the Lord are manifested all over the universe constantly without succession, as water flows constantly from waterfalls. So the text again, O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane, Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskyadyade Siddharna. The sages at Namasharanya, they question about the incarnations. So Sutta Goswami is answering their inquiry and explaining about the incarnations. Now in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions his incarnations when he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Ajo pisan avyatma bhutanam ishvaros pisan prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavam yatmamaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all the sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious practice and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I advent myself. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya tritiskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. in order to protect the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. So Krishna says he personally comes in that way. Now, as explained here in this, later on in this chapter, matter of fact, just a few verses from now, Etai Changsa Kala Pumsam, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, Indrarim Vakulam Nokam, Mridayantim Rige Yuge. In order to protect the pious, Etai Changsa Kala Pumsam, all the different incarnations mentioned so far are either portions or plenary portions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna, he's Bhagavan Swayam. He's the full manifestation of Godhead. And he comes whenever there is some problems with the demigods, or etc. He comes to help them out. When there's disturbances created by the atheists. Now, what does it have to do with us? Generally speaking, if we look through the Chaitanya Charitamrita and other scriptures, we'll find out everyone, whether it be Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha or Karnadakashai Vishnu in the causal ocean, their mantra is, I'm a servant of Krishna. Even Krishna's expansions have the mood of being a servant to Krishna. And here it mentions also that not only Krishna expands himself as Matsya, Kurma, Raha, etc., but they all have the same mood of service. It's not that Krishna, he comes here as Matsya Avatar just to have a good time swimming for a while. No, Matsya comes with a purpose. There's a purpose behind what he's doing. Similarly, Kurma, although it says he came here to have a scratch on his back, to have an itch on his back scratched, but that's just humorous, actually. He has a purpose, like all the other incarnations. All the plenary and partial incarnations of Krishna, they all come with the same purpose. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya tadiskritam, dharma samstapanartaya, sambhavam yuge yuge. Simple. Protect the pious, annihilate the miscreants, and reestablish religious principles. That's the whole thing that goes on with all of Krishna's expansions. Now, we ourselves are infinitesimal spiritual beings, currently embodied in a body where we can do many different things. But basically, we have a choice between our purpose of life having no purpose of life other than to gratify the senses, or a purpose of life is Krishna's purpose. Namely, as Krishna has the big purpose, he does big things, well, we're supposed to assist him. Just like little parts of a machine, they have no other business than to assist the big machine, to work cooperatively to assist the big machine. Otherwise, they become useless. Prabhupada used to give the example of the finger. Now, the finger, if it's diseased, you may spend any amount of money to fix it, to cure it. But you cut the finger off, then it becomes a sorrow, useless, and you won't spend any money. Matter of fact, you just want to get rid of it. So similarly, when we're connected to Krishna if we have the same purpose of Krishna. Namely, to help the pious, to destroy atheism, and to reestablish religious principles. Now, Krishna may come and he may annihilate akshahinis of warriors on the battlefield in his form in Dwarka, or kill so many demons when he's in Vrindavan. Well, we don't have that ability. Nor would it be very good, because the incarnation in this age is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishna Sango Pangasya Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtana Prayera Yanti Hi Sumedasa. That Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishna. Krishna is coming and he's chanting the names of Krishna. He's not coming in a blackish form, he's coming in a golden form. And he's Varnam Krishna. His Varna is, color is Krishna. Sango Pangasya Parshadam. But he has weapons and he has associates, but his weapons are, and the Parisads, they're all doing the same thing. They're destroying atheism by chanting the holy names. They're not taking a sword in hand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu almost killed Jagat and Madhai because they had attacked Lord Nityananda. But Lord Nityananda requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to do that because he said, in this age, everyone is just like Jagat and Madhai. But you've come as a merciful incarnation. But if you kill Jagat and Madhai, then you might as well kill everyone else because they're just as bad. Then there's no reason for you to come and give your mercy because there won't be anyone left to give your mercy to. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's killing the materialistic concepts of life, the materialistic ideas by the Sankirtan, chanting loudly the chanting Hare Krishna. And those who are intelligent in this age, they'll assist him in that endeavor. In other words, this incarnation that we have, because we've incarnated within material existence, within flesh, this incarnation should be to cooperate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And that mission is to reestablish religious principles and dharmam sakshat bhagavan pranitam. We find out religious principles from Krishna. No one can manufacture their own religious principles, as is the fashion of foolish pretenders. That taraka apratishta shutiya vivina nasavarishir yasyana vina dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahadano yena kata savanta. Sure, people can go on discussing things forever. And discussion is all right as long as it reaches the conclusion that we should serve Krishna. And we know what service to Krishna is. Reestablish religious principles, try to remove people's materialistic concepts of life, materialistic demoniac consciousness, and to make sadhus out of people, engaging them in Krishna's service. That should be the conclusion. Any other conclusion is just a waste of time. We've just wasted our time. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, blind following, well, let's go with the other part. One should accept the spiritual master in full surrender and serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission, inquiries from and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One has to pass the test of the spiritual master. And when the spiritual master sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses him with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. one should not only hear submissively, but one should not only hear submissively, but one should get a clear understanding through submission, service, and inquiries. The spiritual master is by nature very kind to the disciple. When the disciple is always submissive and is ready to render service, then the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. In other words, tarka apratishta. There's a purpose for inquiry. There's a purpose for trying to figure things out in discussion. Krishna encourages discussion in the Bhagavad Gita. Machita, machkata, prana, bodhi, antash, parash, param. We have to discuss. Everyone's discussing. Everyone has different ideas they're trying to clarify. But it should reach a conclusion. Basically speaking, either someone is asking a question or someone else is giving the answer. Unfortunately, in this age, everyone has answers, they have no questions. They only give answers, they never ask questions. Therefore, it's apratishta. No one accepts anyone's answers because they never ask questions. And if they ask a question, it's just to trick people into accepting their answer. So, taraka apratishta. This, when it's properly done, it machita, machkata, prana, bodhyanch, parash, param. When one is actually sincerely inquiring about the absolute truth, one is actually submissively inquiring from someone they respect as a representative of knowledge, of real knowledge, then it'll be fruitful. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. And if we go on studying all the different scriptures, Nisavri, Tarko, Apratishta, Shrutiya, Vibhina, but we have no goal other than we don't know what we're looking for. If we're not really looking for the truth, then we'll never find it. If our whole idea is just to search the scriptures and pick out things that we like for our sense gratification, then we'll be wasting our time too. And similarly, there's so many rishis, so many intelligent people coming along who are superior to us, offering us so many different types of varieties of materialistic experience. But that's also a waste of time. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. That real experience that we're looking for is there in the heart of a self-realized person. One who's actually realized that their identity is an eternal servant and they realize their relationship with Krishna. Now, unless we accept that theoretically, there's such a thing as a soul and we're one of them. Unless we accept theoretically there's a supreme person and there's a relationship with him of service, then of course we'll just go around discussing nonsense things. Nonsense means ultimately it has no real value to discovering who we actually are, what our real goal of life is, because everyone has the same goal of life, whether it's stated or not stated. Everyone wants to be as happy as possible for as long as possible. In order to do that, they want to find out how to do it. Now, if we don't accept the fact that we're a spiritual being, there's a supreme spiritual being, and we have relationship with the supreme spiritual being, then we're just going to go around chasing our tail. You see a dog sometimes, he sees his tail and he becomes attracted to it, so he chases after it. So he just runs around in a circle, chasing his tail. So we don't have enough intelligence to accept what's known as apararari, the Krishna consciousness movement, is that we're eternal, there's a supreme eternal person, and that our goal is to find out our relationship with that supreme eternal person. If we don't accept that, then we'll chase our tail, whether we'll just run after something about this body, how to make it comfortable, how to make other bodies comfortable, because happiness we want. and if our happiness is dependent on this body, then we're going to chase after happiness for this body. But the body will never be happy, nor will we ever find anything that will make the body happy. Therefore, one has to try to find someone who's self-realized. And then, Mahajano Yena Katapa Sapanta, and then follow them. Now, self-realized means that the person knows their relation with Krishna. So someone who's found such a person and repeats his knowledge, then the knowledge he's giving at least is as good as the knowledge that that person gave, the self-realized person is. He may not be self-realized, but the knowledge he's given is as good as the self-realized person. It may not have the same potency due to the lack of full realization, but still, qualitatively, it's as good as the self-realized person, what he's speaking. They're both speaking the same thing. Maybe the effect may be different according to the elevation of this vibration, but still it's the same vibration. Therefore, everyone is supposed to become an incarnation of Krishna, an instrument. This is what Krishna told Arjuna. Arjuna is wondering, well, here we are in the material world, we're suffering like anything. There's only so many, it's one problem after another. Now we're on this battlefield. Now you've shown me your universal form. And it's ghastly. You're just chewing everyone up on your teeth. I mean, you're not even a vegetarian in this form. I thought you were at least vegetarian. So Arjuna was inquisitive. Akyaki ke go ko baban ugrupo. Namosute deva varaprasida vigatami shami vantamadyam hi prajanami tava pravritim. I want to know what your pravritim is, what your goal is, what you're here for. Everyone should know what they're here for, what their goal is. Obviously, you didn't wake up on the wrong side of the bed this morning and decide to eat all the soldiers on the battlefield because you were hungry. There must be some other purpose. I don't think this is your only purpose. So, I want to know, Akyaki ko bhavan ugra rupa. It's a horrible form, but there must be another purpose behind it. So Krishna says, yes, kalasmi loka kshaya krit prarido, lokansa maharti ha paritak, itepi tvam nabha vishanti sarve, evasitat nukeshaya. Time I am, and I've come to destroy everyone here. Except for you, the 5 Pandavas, everyone on both sides is going to be slain. So, Krishna's purpose in this material world is to give the living entities an opportunity to so-called enjoy their senses and then die. And get another opportunity, another body to enjoy their senses. Chew the chewed, endlessly chew the chewed, thinking that this time the bubble gum which has already been chewed is going to take, somehow or another, there's going to be some sugar in it this time. And chew it again. We've eaten, slept, we've had sex, we've defended ourselves in 8,400,000 species of life since time immemorial, but this time we're going to think it's going to be different. We're going to get what we're looking for. We never got what we were looking for, and therefore our desires constantly change all the time. We hear, well, that's not where it's at, maybe it's better over here. And then we desire it, and Krishna arranges it, that we get that opportunity to go there and experience it. So Krishna says, I've come here, and I'm going to everyone's dying all the time, because that's part of the material world, because their desires are changing. They're in the human form of life, but they want to eat like a pig, but they can't do it. They get sick. Let me give them a body of a pig. They can eat like a pig, and they can be healthy. Krishna is so kind. He's fulfilling so many desires. But Krishna says, Tasmat tvam utishi yasho labasva, jiva shatrum bhuksham rajan samridam, nidmiyata purvaminam. Tasmat utishi yasho labasva, jiva shatrum bhuksham rajan samridam, Mayavita nihitam purvamevam nimittamatram bhavasavasachan. Get up and prepare to fight. After conquering enemies, you'll enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They're already put to death by my arrangement, O Savisachi. But you can be but an instrument in the fight. So Krishna is asking Arjuna to do his duty. So what is his duty? Try to protect the innocent, annihilate the miscreants, and reestablish religious principles. It's the same duty that everyone has in relation to Krishna. That's Krishna's mission whenever he comes, in all these incarnations. So that's our duty too. And if we perform that duty, then we're rightly situated. Otherwise, we're being slain by the material energy, by time. We'll take everything away that we have, and then we're going to wind up somewhere else in one of the 8,400,000 species of life, and continue to waste our time looking for happiness in a place where there is no happiness. No permanent happiness. We can't say there's absolutely no, people have no satisfaction. But even in some music groups kept on singing, they've been singing since practically their whole life, can't get any satisfaction. So they've been singing it since they've been teenagers, and they still haven't gotten any satisfaction. And they have all the opportunities to get satisfaction. They've tried everything, and they couldn't get it. So how are we going to get it from material existence? So the point is, we have to find out what our service to Krishna is, basically to establish religious principles, to remove the atheistic understanding in current society, and to make devotees, make people into devotees of Krishna, convince them that your only purpose of life, the only thing that will actually give you some benefit in life is to serve Krishna. Everything else is going to simply take you away from your real goal of life. Your real goal of life is to be eternally happy and full of knowledge of how to do that, full of awareness of the wonderful Krishna and everything in relationship to him. So that's your purpose of life. And our business is to discover that for ourselves and help others discover that, and take away the atheistic propaganda that there is no God, there is no other purpose of life than to gratify the senses, and to reestablish real principles of religion so that people all living entities can actually become progressive in the path of self-realization, towards realizing the relation with Krishna. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna. I was thinking, how can we reestablish this mood of preaching? Because nowadays in ISKCON it's not so much mood of preaching, it's more like in...
Well, intensify our own mood of preaching. Like the candle is, the little spark is thinking, how can I intensify everyone else's fire? Well, become a bigger fire yourself. And then the other little sparks will get warmer too. Otherwise, just looking at all the little sparks and saying, why aren't you glowing? Would not be very helpful. We have to glow ourselves, and the other ones will take notice and think, maybe I should start glowing too. And if we think, well, I'm doing so much, we're not doing anything. We're not the doer. We're just fortunate enough to have some opportunity to preach so that we don't become a little spark, or lower spark ourselves. And as soon as we look around and see everyone else is a little spark and become envious of them, then we'll become a little spark ourselves. Unless we see it as an opportunity to glow more ourselves and therefore get more realization how to inspire them to take up the process of preaching systematically. Unless devotees are engaged consistently in hearing and chanting about Krishna, unless they get realizations and experiencing Krishna consciousness, why would they want to preach? What will they have to preach about? So we should encourage everyone to follow sadhana, and if we talk to them, we should try to see how to help them, inspire them to become more Krishna conscious. And then when they become more Krishna conscious, then they'll want to preach. They'll want to tell people about Krishna. If they get a nice recipe of cookies, then they tell all the neighbors about the recipe of cookies. It's normal. And if they have no cookies, you're giving them, then why will they go out and chant the glories of cookies unless they taste it themselves? So we have to inspire people also to taste Krishna consciousness, and then they'll be more receptive to go out and distribute this to others. Of course, if they, somehow or another, they're prepared to do that, and they do it in the right way, they go out, then we have to train them also how to preach. Otherwise, they may not get a taste for preaching. We may have a taste for preaching because we know a little bit more than they do how to preach, so we should instruct them how to preach, so they can get a taste also. Anything else? So if you have a marathon, have a little seminars for who's ever ready to attend it, and instruct them how to do it in such a way you become happy, and the people you come in contact with become happy too. And on that basis, they take a book, somehow or another. So the people, when the devotees go out and they distribute books, or they go out in Harinam, they get a higher taste by doing it. Then you won't have to preach to them all the time. They'll preach to you about doing it. Anything else? Hvala, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.